G'day, how's all going? This is Ianapolis here, your acrylic guru. Glad you can join me today. I've got me coffee ready to paint, and I've got a beautiful cup from Marilyn Lynch back in June. Every now and then a subscriber of mine will send me a cup or a gift, and she's gone and written on there, Ian always gives the bullshit effect. Good stuff. Anyway, we're going to do a water, wave, rock, sky, foreground painting today. Something a beginner can look at. So right there are the sizes of the canvas I'm using, but you use any size you like. Some people get mixed up and think, well, because the tutorialist is using that size canvas, they've got to use it. You use whatever you like, okay? And if you're a beginner, you practice and learning as you go. Then you'll work out to get the real great stuff and know how to use it, and you won't be wasting your money. All right, now we'll come to the side here and get the colours going up the screen like that, all right? And I'm not sure how many colours they're going to be, because I'll find that out at the end of the painting. All right? And also make sure you got coffee, 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 and a touch of happiness. All right, so let's get stuck into this, all right? Okay, now we're going to get this, the colours up here ready for this canvas panel. Now, the inspiration behind this painting was from a Nivette Noctong from Thailand. He's a 60-year-old gentleman, and he's given me permission to use his painting, or not his painting, but I just like the way it had rocks and the wave and the sky and that, and he does such a beautiful soft job with his work. All right, so I had a talk with him and his daughter, and she translated for us, and it was quite okay for me to use his layout. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use in today's tutorial. And his name was Nivette Noctong. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. From Chiang Mai in Thailand. Alright, so we're going to obviously get this all prepped up with some white flowing paint, which I've got here. It's nearly running out in my bottle, as you've all heard in previous videos. It's spluttering and splattering, but we'll try and get it out with some dignity. And of course retarder, because we're going to need the sky to blend. Now I can go and draw this in. For you beginners, I'll give you an idea what it's going to look like, okay? Alright, we've got about halfway on one side and a bit below halfway on the other side, because this horizon line is on a bit of an angle, because we're looking down at that way. And oh, what am I using? I'm not using chalk or something special. I'm using a graphite pencil, yes, because the way I paint, it doesn't come back through the painting. In general, it might bleed through. Now we're going to have a horizon line, and from that horizon line, from about here and up out of the picture and into the here is going to be some rock. And then over here, we're going to have some distant mountains like they do over there in the land. And then this is going to be different waves coming in, okay, and breaking onto the wet shoreline, and with some shadow on the shoreline as well, okay. And we could probably put some rocks in here as well. So that's pretty much the layout, okay. Now down here we've got all our blending colours for the sky. I've got me flowing white paint, I've got French ultramarine blue, I've got some quinacridone magenta, I've got some crimson red and some mid yellow. So these colours here are going to do for me subtle sunset, hopefully a blend of this, and this will be the sky. Now I want to show you beginners, my retarder's just ran out. I'll grab another bottle. God, I go through this like coffee, this stuff. Anyway, just like that. Use what you think you need. It all dries in the end. It doesn't matter if you put too much in. It's not a measurement contest. Alright, so we're going to sort of base our canvas with this one here now, okay? So we'll get our brush and loading him up. So see, I'm pulling the paint both sides, getting it into that retarder, slow drying. It slows down the drying time of your acrylic paint, and because it's clear, there's a lot of different other mediums. It might be white or something. This clear one works beautiful. So we've got our sky here. We'll get all this ladened on. I better make sure I don't get none of that in my coffee. Now, I haven't sprayed my canvas on this one because it's a paper canvas. So if I did spray it, it'll sort of be trying to paint on plastic, you know what I mean? So we got there, and now I want to come down to the water area as well, just so as we're going to get some, probably to the shoreline there. So now you can tell, when I put that pencil on there, you can tell why I'm only painting to those areas, okay? Now, I've used a graphite pencil. Some people might think, oh, should you use that? If you haven't got anything that's designed for it, a pencil's fine if you just do it lightly. See, because I've virtually primed this board now with the white retarded flowing white paint. Now, to keep it simple, we've got all that there. We need to work before it does dry. Today's a cold, rainy day today, so I haven't got to rush too much. But anyway, you could be somewhere where you need to. So what I've painted here, I'm going to mirror image down there. Now, it's going to be a subtle sky. With this French ultramarine, I'm bringing in the clear medium retarder, both sides of the brush. And now we want this sky to be subtle, not too bright. See there, I'm going to wear it into the canvas so it starts toning down, and then I'll start bringing it down the sky like so to there. I'll get it all onto the canvas first. See, that's why I rubbed it up there first, and now I'm bringing it down. See, that's still too dark for what I want. So what I'm going to do, I'll pick up a little bit of that flowing white paint. Normally the titanium white works better because it's got more body in it. That's more watery, that stuff. Now we'll do the bottom half. I'll just use what was on the brush, and it's still got to be a lot lighter than that. To me, that's still too dark. This is a subtle. And where our horizon line is, we can intensify that with more white. So I've got some white titanium out of the tube. I'm just going to wipe that brush. I'm not going to wash it. And we'll get maybe a bit of retarder in there as well, just so it can, not too much. And I really want to see that that's working. I want to get that, get these values in there, make it lighter and lighter. Alright, a pouncer is good for this next bit. It's dry, so I'm just going to give it a spray of water so she's a bit damp. Now we want our sun about here, okay? So that's on there, it's still wet. We're going to get the pouncer. We're going to pick up the titanium white, spread it into your pouncer. And I want my sun about here. So what I'm going to do is start priming that area for the sun, getting it white so as my colours won't mix. Just about there. Come out on a sort of an oval-y shape. Right, that's very frothy looking, that paint. That's fine. And I want to get those values into the water as well. So I want to get a line here, and pretty much, because this is going to have the red and the yellow reflections in it as well, okay? Now I'm getting my cadmium yellow, and I want to load the pouncer up. I've just washed all that white out of the pouncer, so we'll load that up. You can use any size pouncer, and if you don't have a pouncer, you can use your favourite blending brush. Now we want a bit of that there. See, that's looking quite bright. Oh my God, what is he doing? But this is going to blend out, and I want to trace that through there, okay? Grab your blending brush, and with a blending brush, make sure you got a rag on hand. Now I want to blend this yellow just into the white. I've still got the sky colour there, and we're going to come back to that. So I want to blend this. See now how that white has not allowed that yellow to turn green in my sky. You do not want a green sky. Now I'm going to horizontally blend this because this is in the water bit. So we've got yellow blended on top of blue, but it didn't turn green. That's because I've put the white there first. Now it's going to go a little bit orangey, it doesn't matter. We're going to wipe the pouncer a bit, pick up that red. Now red's very strong, and we just want around just somewhere there like that, and scooting in there somewhere like that. That's all you need to do. Wipe your blending brush and blend the yellow from the inside into that red. We don't want it to turn, we don't want to kill the yellow in the middle there. Now you can see what the retarder in all this surface has allowed us to do with these acrylics. We're going to tone this red down a bit, don't worry. We've got our subtle. Wipe your brush, wipe your brush. See this bit here? It's still heavy. I'm wiping my brush and I want to get that soft. There we go. I've softened it up from the yellow to the red. Now I don't want to do this willy-nilly. I want to keep these long like so because it's going to be water there. So I'll quickly get it the way I want it. That'll do. Okay, I've blended that. Now because that's the water, I'm going to just move that like that in the water. I've done all the blending, so it's pretty much where I want it. Now we're going to pick up some more of the yellow here, just so as we can put our yellow back, because I want a white area in the middle of this to intensify it. So we're just sort of going back. See, I've just sort of sat that in there. Grab my blending brush and I want to blend the yellow into the red. Wipe your brush as you go because it's picking up paint. Get it into that red there. And we're going to bring the sky back over this to sit it down. So see, now I've got that yellow centre back again the way I wanted it. Okay, just on another brush, getting some white. And I want to intensify the middle there because you don't want it just white, I mean yellow. You want it, and this will turn the headlights on and all those colours as well. You could probably put a bit in there, not that we're going to need it. Okay, I'll just quickly pull them through. Now I've got to wipe that blending brush and I want to blend that white into the yellow. Just so it's intense glare of the sun. That's the sun there. That'll do it. That's all we need. All right, we'll get our sky colour with some of this. See, I'm just going to put a bit of it in a bit of this here. There we go. And grab a blending brush. All right, here's our sky. We're going to start putting that back in front of that sun there. Don't put this wet paint too much on there and contaminate the orange back here. You see what I've done? I've just stamped it on. So I'm going to start here. If I press too heavy, I'm going to start lifting the paint here. You've got to sort of feel your canvas. It's trying to talk to you as well. Now we're going to slowly drift this in front of that sunset colour there. Just like that. See from this side how it's looking. So we've got a sunset peering through that. And you can start blending the rest of this to make it even if you want as well. I will do that because sometimes you can see the brush strokes in the wet paint. Dab some more over there and I want to lightly. See all that red, everything's still a bit damp. And we can softly sit everything down with each other. There we go. Okay, I'm going to get some of the titanium white onto a fan brush and I want to just lace in like I would normally do clouds, but these aren't going to be clouds, they're going to be to mystify the sky. So I'm virtually doing a bit at a time and I'm just going to grab myself a blending brush and I want to blend that right into the the sky. So we've got the white there, but they're not going to be a distinct shaped cloud. They're going to give that subtle, you know, misty, cold look to the sky, leaving some of the blues in there. And then we'll grab some more. My brush isn't contaminated yet, but as you go along, your brush that you're putting this on with could gradually get contaminated. If it does, wash it before you reapply more paint. Now this white I'm using is titanium white out of the tube. I would not want to go and use the flow white because it's very opaque and see-through, and you sort of have no guts to your painting otherwise. So we've got that side done, and we'll quickly come across this side. Just, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just sort of going anywhere, a little bit there. Wiping the blending brush as you go, and getting all this across the sky. We've still got that blue. Like I said in previous videos, try not to go too dark with your acrylics as they dry darker, and when they're light they just look more subtle and real. Now where I drew my horizon line, I'm picking up that white now, and I want to come across and get the background really mystified. So somewhere around here is going to be, see there's a big thick glob there, don't, you know, I'm stamping it and working it through to a degree. My blending will finish it off. So I'm moving that big blob around, and I'm coming down here because we're going to have a rock there. And now we're going to blend this up into the sky. Twist, dab, on and off softly, work out the pressure you need to go. And this is going up into the sky, just so as we got that distant vapours going up. Because the water horizon line will cut into the bottom of this and start it off. That there, I don't want to have to do all that. Now I'm going to use the Van Dyke Brown for the distance rock, which is here. I'm going to pick up some of the flowing white paint just to lighten it. Now this has got to be very subtle, just a hint of it, because it's in the distance. It's got a lot of air between you and it. Okay, and I'm thinking that's not too bad. Probably go a little bit darker the further I go up my line there. See what's happening? That's why I put it in a line. It's going a bit dark, and if that's a bit too dark and that's a bit too light, you just come over here and dance the two together and have a wonderful time. I think that's pretty much the colour I want. Now I'm using a flathead brush because I can sort of shape. It's like using a knife. Now I'm going to wet the brush a bit just so it's going to transfer off to onto the canvas better. This has no retarder in it, no need for it. Now I have these rocks coming out to about maybe here. Okay, so we want to bring this just along where they finish. I want this to sort of finish about here. My horizon line is on that imaginary line there, okay, and all the way to there. So this rock's sort of coming out to there. So this one's coming from behind it. So let's say it's coming up, bit of a peak on there somewhere, and it's coming down to the water's edge there. And now we'll just colour that in. Colour it in, sound like grade 5s here, don't we? I could have, yeah, see what it's doing? It's not working. So this is where you got to blow dry it. Let's dry all that. My microphone wasn't turned on in this bit. I'm just adding some titanium white now, and I'm stamping it on to the bottom of this distant mountain, and I will grab a smaller blending brush and I'm just going to lightly blend that up into the lighter brown colour there, and this will create distance between you and this distant mountain here. So just lightly add more white and then slowly but surely blend that softly into that lighter colour brown. Too easy. Okay, before we put these rocks on, I want to start mapping in the water now, then the rocks can go over it. Because if I put these rocks in first, then I've got to sort of brush to the rocks, and it's going to be a bit not quite the way I want to do me painting. It'll be a bit back to front. So let's get the water going. We've got the blue, so I'm going to pick up some more of that blue. I've used the French ultramarine, and I've got some Payne's grey, and I'm making a darker colour here. Now I'm going to leave that in that flathead brush, and I will grab another flathead brush just to, I just want to see what the white does with that, to make up the other colours. Now against my horizon line, we're here, and we want to come across. I'm not going to tape this because I want some of that mist laying over the distance water there. So I virtually want to get this, just let your hand go freely like that. It's got waves in the distance, okay? So it can be like that. Once it's contacted on there, then you can just go willy-nilly, and we'll just go boom like that. That's all I wanted to do, okay? Then we're going to grab the darker colour on the other brush, and we want to get some bands of that in. So just band it in like that. Get another one. Band it in like that. We'll just come to a point there just because it looks artistic, and we're artists and we're doing a piece of art. Now we're going to grab the lighter tone again, and we want to get this. Let's not have a dark bit of paint on the edge of our brush like I normally do. And that's going to come just in there like that. Just in there like that. We can blend that like that. Get some more of this lighter colour here. We don't want to kill too much of that red and yellow. If we do, we can always put it back. But we're virtually putting this in between the dark band. Where are we? And we'll have some over here. Coming out to about there. Now we'll grab some of the darker colour again, and we'll get more of it in there. Thin bands here. God, my hand's not the straightest. Let's get them out there like that. We can add lighter ones in there if we've lost it. Okay, now see those colours there? What I want to do is merge them. I've got a dry, clean flathead brush, and I want to merge these colours. Lightly does it. Otherwise, like I said, you can pull your paint off from underneath because this is a paper canvas. And we're getting rid of those open, scratchy brushstroke looks, okay? I've cleaned the brush, and I'm picking up some of the yellow and a bit of the red. I want to just make a bit of an orange. Just like that. Not too red, I want it more yellowy. Get some of this in the water, just like that, not too much. Now grab that dry brush you were merging and all this with, and just sort of pull that through as well. Because we're going to finish this off with white. Now we're going to grab the white on our clean brush, and we want to put white in between here. Just like so. We're just highlighting over the tops of everything. Alright, that's just the background water. From here, I want to create a wave. So I'm going to come up. But before I do that, I want to blow dry this paint. Okay, that's blow dry. We're going to come up. Well, pretty much across, from across, up, and along here. This is virtually the whole top of the wave, and it's going to come into there. Why I want to put the dark down first, I'm just putting a bit of water on my brush so that'll transfer better. And this wave is virtually going to be all here. Now we've got to dry that. I just want some of them scissoring into that sunlight on the water there, just to fix that stupid edge up. Now I have some white on my flathead. I want the top of the wave rolling with some white on it, but not all of it. So we're probably going to go from about here, and I want to sort of bring it. Oh, it's a bit. Just to let it break up somewhere along there. Now I have a round brush here. I don't know what size it is. I'm no scientist with brushes. It's got a number 6 on it, so it must be a number 6. And I've got the titanium white again, so we're picking that up in the round brush because this is a bit more scratchy and la-di-da. Now first off, I want to make the froth from here. So while I'm using this round brush, it breaks it up like that. See, I've blow dried all this blue and I can see some of it bleeding through. So it looks like I just didn't blow dry it enough. But see, I wanted those scratchy lines behind this bright froth. And then we want a bit of dark left right under this froth. But we want this, the bottom of this froth line sort of zigzag. We don't want it in a beautiful straight line, okay? So we're getting it like that. This is just an effective way. It's a layering way, but it's effective. Okay, we'll have a bit of a pocket there. And we're going to come along now. This is really, it's not your standard looking wave. So I'm going to get it against all that white scratch bit in the background first. And then we'll sort of get it coming up here as well. We want to keep a bit of dark there. That's why I've put all the dark there first. And then from about here, that's virtually going to be something like that. I'm just putting some more of this darker colour here because I feel I'm going to need it to accentuate that white when I put it on. I've left it a bit too shy, so I'll just get a bit more on, okay, and bring it down. This is all going to be white, but I'm needing this to highlight the white. As we all know, the darks complement the lights. That'll do. I'm going to blow dry that now. I'm using my hog bristle fan brush because these bits that I did here, they're not scratchy enough. So I'm just going to sort of put them in again. That's better. Just so we got some distinct scratchy lines. We don't want that blurry look, and we want it to look like lines. Now everything's dry. These bits of white I'm going to just fix up where I had to fix up my silly mistakes there. Just over there. Twist around. I'm leaving some of it a bit paler white. I want that hog bristle now, so as we can start bringing, I've wet the brush a bit, because watch, this top area here is the top of the wave, right there, okay, and we want to bring all this down, because it's like a gathering sweeping wave coming up ready to get momentum, but we've got a lot to do. We want to sort of, let's see, like I've got to keep the dark between there and keep it all on the same motion. Let's get some more on there first. And we want it scratchy, but we want the dark left underneath that white. There we go. We'll have to change that angle like that. But you see what's happening? And we're virtually going to bring that all. See why I needed the dark under there? And we can even it up later. Like there's light and darker bits there. We'll go back and even it. Now we could start heavy in this bit, because this is where the foam, I'll show you, that's probably going to be about there, foaming back into the ocean, foaming along here, all that's scraped back. We want those lines looking like that. So we'll just quickly come over here, along there, and along there. And that's the rest of our water. So this is all going up. And at the front, see here, we can just manipulate that. Put a bit of yellow in it if you want, and a bit of orangey bits just around here, just to wash that brush and get your white back over it. A lot of this now needs white in there from the black. I'm going to neaten all them up. We'll just put a shadow under here, so as it sits that down. We're grabbing a script liner, and I'm just going to grab the darkest, this Van Dyke brown. You want it really moist so it'll run off your brush. And I'm going to start from this side, so as I'll just sort of dance around, thin as possible, come through there. I'm going to start here now because that's on the other side, okay? So we'll pick up some more. And we're coming along here, and we're sitting this foam down onto the sand there, you know? Because if anything, we're looking at this from this side down that way on a slight angle. It's not front on, okay? Getting some of this in there. Make this nice and thin. Just dance it around. Act nervous and frightened like you would be. And it works out beautiful. Nature starts taking over. See how that's just sitting it down? I don't like that little woolly bit there, but I'll come and fix that up in a minute. This bit here can be a bit thicker because it's closer. Not too thick though. Let's see what we can do with that bit there. I don't know. Just like a shadow. Oh, get off there. Can't stand it when you're just going to paint. Nothing's coming off. I want to put something just in the front here because it's looking a bit naked, so I'll probably come off like another band coming through here. Just subtle. I'm twisting the brush as I go, so it's a nice, that'll do. And then I'm just going to grab my little blending brush and keep the bottom edge of that line tight and pull the top of it just into the sand there, just to give it some okay. Now the last bit we're going to do is this rock. Now back down to the Van Dyke brown. I'm going to wet the brush a bit just so we've got some good transfer happening from the brush to the canvas. And to keep this very simple, we'll just map it in with the darker colour, then we can tone it up and down. Okay, so we're going to come off the painting with our rock, and we'll probably put one about here. Okay. And we'll have something, where's this one here? It's just sort of coming over and in front of this one down, and another one there down into the water. Now we're going to turn our flathead brush around, and we want to keep this reasonably straight to the water's edge there. Okay, get that up there. We're mapping this in, blocking it in. Okay. And we're not going to pull down reflections in here. This is the ocean. This is the big thing. It's not that pristine and clear and subtle. And we'll get the bottom of this rock now. So this one's sort of coming in front of that a bit, and then that's going to come back about there. We'll map all that in like so. There's our horizon line. I'll fix that up later. And then we're just going to come forward with some, maybe there's one here, the waves in front of it. So we'll get that out into the, where we missed out our water. Okay. And there's just one here, just breaking up there. Got to get the edges nice and sharp. And we could probably put something here, so something about here. Come off the painting. And there. Get it on there. Come off the... Keep it flat at the bottom, keeps our perspective in. Makes things look a bit even. Probably one out in the middle here. Just to break it up. It's that sort of beach. Get a nice shadow going across here off the painting. Okay, now I think I'll keep it simple just for the beginners out there. I've got some of that Van Dyke brown mixing with the Payne's grey. So I want to start from this one here, let's say, and let's just get some of the... Is that looking darker? Yeah. And if I find it's lifting the paint, we can blow dry it. Okay, so we can... This is probably going to stick out a lot more now because we've dried it. So we're spider webbing that up through the rocks there, just like that. This one's sort of coming in front, so we'll sort of... I'm making this line for that one there now. Okay, and then the bottom of this is dark as well, spider webbing up. Don't go over this side here. And we're just sort of getting that up there like that. This is just a basic, simple way for you beginners to get some cliff rocks in there. And then the same again for here. Putting that rock in front of there. Getting some darkness underneath it. And then this one can be darkened as well. Get this one a bit darker in some spaces. Start at the bottom and tease it up into the rock. Oh, this is really thick. Look at it, it's pulling it. I didn't dry that one enough, but that's it. I haven't washed the brush. I'll probably just wipe it, pick up some titanium white, okay, on both sides of the brush, and get some of this and lighten it. Let's just see what's... Not too light, just subtle. And we'll put the sort of... I want to give it that rocky sort of... Not too much. Just there. Because if anything, the light's here, so it's going to be hitting this side of it. That's it. Not too much. Where's this one? Just get some of the lightest here. Well, that's still a bit too light for me. I've just had to charge my battery up. I'll get some of this radiating down this front edge of this rock. Just any willy-nilly brush strokes working for me. See? And the front of some of this here, kissing the darker colours. With this, what I'm doing here now, some of this, if you feel it's all too uniformly light, dark, change the values of it. okay, because see some of that, I want to go a bit darker now. I feel it's just too light there, so I want to change some of the values of it. Think artistically. Where are we? Get my head out the way. There we go. And we've got, I've done these rocks here, haven't I? Just pulling some sort of depth or shadow from these rocks here onto the wet sand here, just to give it some sort of, I don't know, artistic value. And I'll grab some of the darker blue that I had, and I just want to come under here, blend out, giving that shadowy area under there as well. When you can master the layout of shadows for any sort of picture, the shadows in the right spot really, that's the tape there, they really put your painting into the wow factor. I'll try and get some darks water under here. Not bad, and I'll just get the subtlest bit of white just to kiss that down to the water. And we want to, the water's in there hitting those rocks. How's that looking? That's not too bad. In here. Whoa, bit of a shaky hand, Ian. We can keep detail on this till the cows come home. Like put some really sharp white over here, here, wherever. Oh, the wave's not the best, but it'll do, eh? All right, let's put a signature on that. I'm just using the darker colour I mixed just for me autograph. Now don't forget, all my paintings are for sale. Contact me on Facebook regarding a purchase, and if you go to my photo albums, and then you'll see an album there, art for sale. Whatever's in there is available for sale. Anyway, let's put a frame on this and see how she goes. There we go, it's not too shabby. We've got a bit of a wave just sort of ready to smash in. We've got some wet foreground, some rocks, subtle sunset, misty sky there, all right? Okay, thank you for joining me. Like I said in the beginning, I want to thank Nivet Nogtong from Chiang Mai in Thailand for letting me use his design here. And also Marilyn Lynch, she sent me that cut back in June, but I was using that in today's episode. All right, if you like what I've done here, you'd be sure to tell your friends, but if you don't, you tell everybody, okay? All the best, goodbye, good luck, and good on ya.